and I'd like to hand over to Julia, who will just introduce her session to you now.
Thank you, Sarah. It is a real joy to be here with Eden and with all of you. And if you're a bit surprised that we're not in the Mediterranean biome today, just to say while I remember that you can check out a video that we recorded in the Med a little bit earlier that's back on the page where you registered for this, so you can do that. But a very warm welcome to you. If you'd like to have a little bit of music in the background, I have put a Spotify playlist together, which I think Sarah's going to pop into the chat box for you. If any of you have Spotify and that you want to like join in and just listen to some soothing music in the background, but you know, silence or relative peace can be just as beneficial, if not more so. So it's a personal choice. So the whole session, you know, will be based on what feels good for you. I teach a form of yoga that I've kind of come to call recently freedom yoga, because the idea is not that we do something, but rather that we allow ourselves to feel a bit more free, and we come into the feelings of the body and the feelings of our mind space, if you like, as well, so that we can reconnect with ourselves, get some joy flowing, just feel good, feel better. So a way you could think about it is like it's a little oasis in your day, or an oasis in the storms of life, like a little harbour, somewhere to come back to. Like your yoga is something like that you come into to be. So you could be sitting. The whole session is going to be, you're going to be able to do it pretty much from sitting or lying down, either. And I've chosen that just because I think that makes it more accessible for us. It's also really good for us to connect fully to the ground and feel that we've got the support of the ground. So as I kind of start to set the scene and take us into a little breathing practice, you could decide or just ask your body, where do I want to be? Does it feel good to be sat? Do I need something behind my back that's just going to support me a little bit more? Would it actually be really nice to lie down? And you have my full permission to just lie down, spread yourself out. So wherever you decide to be, just be comfy. And, you know, if you have any particular health conditions, anything that you need to take care of that you're aware of, then obviously make sure that anything that I suggest that we do, just know that it is just a suggestion and you don't have to do anything. You can do your own thing for the whole time if you want to. I won't mind. The main thing is that we're here, we're connecting, we're taking this time, we're creating this bit of oasis and pause in our lives, especially right now. So if you have decided to sit, or if you are somebody who needs to stay sitting anyway, just to really feel your way down to the support of whatever's underneath or around you, to just let yourself sink a little without collapsing. And that's like the sweet spot of yoga. Where can we really let ourselves release, feel the support, but not collapse? And if you're lying down, you know, the same thing kind of goes, although it's easier to properly let go when you lie down. Can you let yourself be pleasantly connected without going into a completely dull space? That there's a little bit of sense of openness in your body, that awareness of life circulating through the breath. And when you're ready, if you haven't yet closed your eyes, and you're comfy to do so, then just letting the eyelids flutter closed, or having a very soft gaze if that helps you to stay present. And just notice as you do that, and as little moments of silence arise, how are you feeling? And not always pleasant feelings come up. Sometimes when we come back into harbour, things come up that we haven't had time to process. So if that happens, see if you can just make space for that, and to know that whatever's going on in the mind or the emotions, it isn't you. It's just a part of your landscape. So letting yourself be held, gently connecting into your own internal body, the landscape of you. And starting to feel into your breath as if the breath was sunshine. As if the breath was sunshine, just like peeking up over a mountain into the valley of the body. And the body being sprinkled with like sun drops, if you could have sun drops, like raindrops, sprinkling onto your body so that you're fully engaged with this sense of the breath that is like coming to you, coming for you, bringing this inner warmth to you and being sprinkled with that sunshine. See just how much of your body you can open into that sense of sunshine. Sunshine in, and then the exhale, sprinkling, scattering, spreading those rays all through the entire physical body and into the mind if there's room. And maybe now the breath is a little bit slower, it could perhaps be a little bit calmer. Maybe even a little bit more full, like the sunshine is rising higher, the day is breaking over the mountain, over the body. So without any feeling of force, just giving space, opening to receive your breath. And to let it go. And you might like to take some breaths now where the exhale leaves through your mouth and there is a real sense of letting go and arriving into the oasis, the harbour of this short practice. And we could just bring our hands, either place them on the belly or place them on the heart, or one on each area, and feel in as well here, hands connecting in, feeling the whole length of the body. Maybe giving you a slightly deeper sense of how the breath moves up and down through the spine. Letting your spine just start to respond a little bit to that movement of breath. So a slight opening forward with the inhale. Even if you're lying down doing this, just letting the pelvis shift slightly as you exhale, releasing. Inhale softly, feeling for that lift and rise in the chest. Great. Just these last few breaths, seeing how much you can stay connected. And if you've had a lot of pressure and stress like many do at the moment, you might notice there's all sorts of other thoughts that have been whizzing around at the same time, and you could just let those be a stream in the background, just a stream passing along behind as you keep drawing back in. Here I am, here's my breath, here's my body, here's this little bit of precious time out. When you reach the end of the next exhale, consciously kind of concluding that short breathing practice, which is such an essential part of yoga. And then allow the eyes to gently flicker open, or if you're going to stay lying on the ground, you could even leave the eyes closed. And at any point during the session, when you can or when you feel to, you can let your eyes just shut again so you can feel into the movements and just listen to my voice guiding you. So we're going to just come into a tiny little bit of release in the shoulders that get so tight when we're stressed, when we're under pressure, when there's a lot going on, like the storms of life around us. And if you need to change position, please do. So do stay lying down if you want to. If you want to gently come and sit, or if you're sitting and you just want to rearrange yourself. So wherever we are before we get into the shoulders, just to kind of loosen a bit in your body in a way that feels like natural to you, just loosening out a little bit in a way that feels natural, to remind yourself that this body that we think of as being so like solid is actually made mainly of air and water, like lots and lots of water, tiny little cells, and there's even space in between the cells. So as you just ease around a little, this free form, like, movement just for you, like, have an idea or maybe even a little felt sense that your body is not as solid as we always think it is, that it can move and ease and glide. And of course, you might encounter little stuck spots, but you just let them be where they are. We don't have to be anything else. So when you've done that little bit of easing, gliding, kind of checking in, loosening, you can come back into center, find your way down mentally, connect down mentally into the ground, feel that support again, conscious of the support, and then just lightly raise an elbow and start to move gently around the rim of the shoulder as you do this. So like, almost like you're using the arm bone to gently stir the shoulder, to gently trickle like a little bit of nectar around the joint of the shoulder. So this is, I'm starting fairly small. You might be starting smaller. You might have a yearning to go bigger. So let the body tell you, again, this closing the eyes, not bothering what I'm doing, feeling your way into how does this arm, this particular shoulder want to move, ease, breathe, like have a feeling that your shoulder can breathe as you're doing this, just gliding around, and then very softly turn to the other side. And as you go the other way, there's this tendency when we've been maybe quite big, maybe we've become quite big on one side, that we start big, but start small, like you're investigating right into the very center of this shoulder. What's going on? How is she or he today? Is it clicky? Is it crunchy? Is it just happily circulating? So a way to know ourselves, to, get to know and relate and be with ourselves more as we perhaps go deeper around, if that suits us, if it suits us, just finding these moves, not fixing the rest of your body. So you'll probably notice, if you are watching, that other parts of my body are also moving with this invitation. Just two little shoulders that are happy to release or happier to release, and then two arms that just rest at the end of all of that. And if you are okay to come to the ground from there, you're going to come and lie back down, or maybe you're already there. And if you're sitting, you can do a sort of version of what we're doing, but just be aware you've got some support behind you, and also be aware of maybe having a bit of space away from the support if that's available to you. So we're just going to lay on down, if we haven't already. Have a little wriggle through the body, spread out. So this session is really, like I say, just a softening, loosening session. My arms happen to have landed over my head. Yours might land by your sides. That might be better for you, or out to the side. So have a little play with where you feel best. Move around in the feet if you can. And if you're not able to move in the feet, see if you can move around the base of the spine, around the hips. And just start to let sort of little soft feet roll from side to side on the ground, and take the knees and the pelvis gently with them. So not particularly to get somewhere, which we get so caught into in our mind thinking and in our desires, in all the like, I have to go somewhere, but more to sense into, connect down to the base of the pelvis. And see if you can feel, again, perhaps with the eyes shut, how as you roll slowly, and just notice, is it okay to roll slowly, turn slowly, just like ease a little bit side to side. Weight if you're sitting, just going gently side to side, maybe the upper body gently turning instead of the legs. Like, where does it feel really nice? Where can you feel like this real gentle, comfy, glorious sort of loosening, softening in the body without pushing? And then where might you kind of rest in a little bit? And as I say, if you're sitting up, you might like to just turn your upper body away, or even if you're lying down, you might like to just gently turn the upper body kind of slightly away from the lower body, and feel like if you're on the ground, it's easier because you can literally reach for the ground. But if you're sitting, like, you could reach for the side of your chair or gently around the chair. And then let the feet, the lower half of you, pick yourself up. Pause in the center and go the other way. Just nice and slow. And we might move quite differently on this side. Look for necks not straining to take you somewhere. Try and find that comfort in your neck. Softly back into center. Yeah. And then we're going to feel for like a natural relationship with the ground, the way our body is a natural part of this earth wants to meet the ground. So again, spreading your feet. You can do this when you're sitting as well. Playing into the feet, softening around the feet. And feeling the back of the shoulders on the ground or the chair behind you. Or if you've got supports of arms on the chair, you can use your elbows. And if you're on the ground, you can use the elbows too. And then we're just going to imagine that we can breathe all the way down into our feet. And then let the inhale travel back up into the body. And as we're doing this, breathing down into the feet, feeling the feet connect to the ground. And then imagining we can breathe back into the body. As we're doing this, if you are laid down, start to really anchor down into your heels so that you land down in the heels as you exhale. And then when you drink your in-breath back up, there's a possibility that by being deep in your heels, the hips don't need to stay connected to the ground without pushing from the buttocks, but with letting the hips, the heels be so deep. And if you're sitting up, you're obviously, I say obviously, maybe some of you are feeling really strong and you are going to take your hips off the chair, but be careful if you do that. If you're sitting, you're going to be focusing more on sending your energy down to the feet and the pelvis. And then as you inhale and you visualize the breath coming in, we're all seeing if we can let the breath roll at the front of our body and open across the chest so that our back starts to make this little arch shape, a comfortable arch. So you might be suspended in the air. You might just be quite quiet and close to the ground. You might have stayed on the ground. You might stay against the back of your chair. And you're focusing on sending breath down, feeling that energy come back up. And then if you'd like to join in with your arms, maybe if you're suspended, unless you're used to being in this shape and you're really comfy in that shape, with your glutes relaxed, the hamstrings largely relaxed, and just the weight in your heels. So unless you are really used to that, I would say let's all come down. And we're kind of let that journey of breath keep going in the background of our minds without being too attached to it. And we're going to just come into the back of the shoulders. So if you've got somewhere that you can snuggle back onto, again on the ground easier, can we snuggle back onto the ground with the shoulders? And I've kind of cheated and showed you where we're going if you were watching. But we're bringing the arms down by our sides. You've got that sense of the shoulders softening back, easing back to ground, giving their weight down into the body. And then we're going to just see if we can let an arm travel away from us, and maybe two arms together, but maybe just one traveling away, where the shoulder is still settled, so that this arm has a chance to experience itself as very, very light. And we can just turn that arm gently around. So if you're sitting, it might be easier to feel that lightness by having the arm all the way overhead. And then just mentally, maybe even using the other hand to guide it back in. If you're laying down, So we want the arm to be up to the sky, whichever way, whatever way the body position is, just up to the sky. And just feel that lightness and turn. And then we can have a little try with the other side. So often when we take our arms out or up, and you know, it is just a tiny little insight into our practice today, but often when we do this in yoga, we get very rigid and we get very fixed, and you know, our energy can't really flow and be that nice, spacious water and air that the body is when we're rigid. So we're seeing if we can just let gravity take us down, and then the space above us open us out. And then from there, we're just visualizing you if you sat up. We're gently going to let the arms travel round to the side, and again, this sweeping movement of the arms as though we're just stirring into the shoulders. So you don't need to make anything like the shape I'm making. Just feel into that sweeping around. And those of you on the ground, as you sweep, try and slow it down enough that you can feel into the moment when this is possible. Come down, meet the, I want to call them the shins, no, meet the heels. And as you drop into the heels, let the arms travel up and pick your top of your spine up. And you might stay there. Or you may let yourself travel back round and down with the arms. So you might allow the body, the spine to respond to this movement down and back up. If you're sat up, this can be just a little bit of a feeling of lifting more in the chest as you come up and through. And then that feeling of like, giving yourself back down, everything kind of coming in a little bit cozier on the exhale, and just making one or two more of those moves. Yeah, noticing how it feels just to move as a whole body, you know, whole body with your breath, with that freedom, trying not to force or push, and then coming gently back and relaxing back down and letting everything be quiet. Tuning back in, maybe with your eyes closed. I'm just going to come on up, but you stay where you are. Tuning back in with your eyes closed to how that feels. Maybe some more softness. Maybe there's just a little bit more of a sense of peace, calm. Yeah. And then wherever you are, we're going to bring the body and the legs a little bit closer as a way of releasing the back. So you could either gently draw the knees in towards you. If you're lying down, or if you're sitting, you could gently bring the body slightly forward. You could use hands on thighs if you're sat in a chair to ease in. And just notice the possibility of your spine extending here. Spine extending all the way down to the very, very base and all the way up, as if your spine reached out through the crown of your head. Yeah. And then we're just going to come softly back, and we're going to take the last couple of breaths here, our last few little concluding meditative breaths here. So wherever you are, being super comfy, if you need another little bit of warmth around you, snuggling in. If you're on a chair and you want to sit back and just give yourself into that support, then do. And either with arms resting down on the lap or the ground, or hands softly connecting back into your body. Feeling to the inhale, allowing a little space. Feeling into your exhale, allowing some space. And as you're breathing or being breathed, being aware that you know when life has been and is so challenging, the most amazing thing we do every day, not only for our health and breathing, but for our spiritual mentality, is we trust, don't we? We trust every time we exhale, we trust that there is going to be a new breath coming in. And you can use that in your daily life to just remind you when things are tough, and you know, when we think we don't know what to trust anymore. Every time I breathe, I do that. I let go, I let go, I let go. Everything goes. There's complete emptiness. But then this sunshine of the new breath comes in. And it's a beautiful practice to just use, maybe if you're finding it hard to sleep, or at the start of your day, to just remember whatever's going on, there's my breath, and I'm choosing to trust. I can let everything go, but the sunshine will come back.
Oh, I'm just going to give you a little round of applause and say what a beautiful, beautiful session that was. I hope that everyone is feeling very relaxed and calm, because that has left a very lovely sense of calmness in me, certainly. So thank you so much for taking us through that, Julia. And just to ask you a quick question, that practice obviously was, you know, beautiful 30 minutes. Are there quicker versions of that if people want to do this as a daily routine that you can suggest? Is there something similar like that, a good thing for people to do?
That's such a great question. I mean, I think, yeah, that's what I thought with the breath is, you know, that is the ultimate thing. You know, yoga in the West, we often think is doing stuff, you know, but really yoga is about coming into being, and all the stuff we do with our arms and legs and everything else is kind of, yeah, by the by. So if anybody wants a shorter practice, you know, normally I like to do a lot longer practice, so I find it really hard to contain it. But if you want a shorter practice, I do have like a short, I think it's a 15-minute daily practice that I've got available that I can send anyone who wants to message me as a download, and also a little 9-minute, a 9-minute settle you down for the night before you go to bed practice as well, that I'm really happy to just share with anybody that wants it. So yeah.
Oh, that's really, that's really, really kind. I've actually just posted in the chat there the website. So Ocean Light Yoga is your website, isn't it? So hopefully,
there is flow yoga in UK as well, who are really lovely. They're a very different style of yoga. So just it's Ocean Light is me, or Julia Yoga Cornwall, you'll find it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's lovely. People are probably feeling very relaxed and calm now, able to go about their Saturday. So thank you very much for that. And obviously, yes, if people do want to get in touch with Julia, they can do that, obviously at your website, where your contact details are. Your wonderful session will be shared with people if they want to watch it again on our website, our Festival of Discovery website, and on the YouTube channel, which again we've shared. And there was a survey link that I posted earlier on. We'd love to get participants' feedback. So if people have got a few minutes to spare, that would be lovely. But thank you again so much, Julia, for your wonderful session.
No, thank you all for coming. I felt all your energy. It was so beautiful, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right, take care.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Julia.